Welcome back to another episode of The Kitchen Table where business gets done. I'm Ken Baden, and today we have my good friend Alana. I always say your name wrong, so I'm not even going to try like Kuchek or something like that.
Alana Watkins.
Oh, that's right.
Kenny.
She's married now.
Kenny.
I forgot. Yes. Watkins. That's way easier than your original. The maiden name was way harder. Watkins. Excuse me, Mr. Watkins. Sorry. I get it. But Alana Watkins, when we met each other, and that's the whole premise of the show. So Alana has flown in from, I just basically throw somewhere from the south out there.
You love it.
And I just kind of say like
Mississippi.
So I've been saying Alabama,
Georgia.
I
think you said Texas.
Anywhere other than Mississippi. Because you don't really think Mississippi. I said Louisiana a bunch of times. Why,
Makes sense, though, because I fly out of New Orleans. That's like the
so you
closest
don't
local
you even
airport.
live in, you fly out of New Orleans when you're going from Mississippi?
So essentially, Hattiesburg is a hub city. So, we're an hour, 40 minutes from New Orleans. We're an hour, 40 minutes from Mobile, Alabama, and then so on. So we can get your Ocean City drive here in Maryland would be our Destin, Florida drive. We have a lot of stuff on the outskirts. It's where people go to retire. If you look up Hattiesburg, Mississippi, top place to retire.
Destin is, I think that's Rebecca went for a honeymoon, but there's a place in Florida that she wants. I think it might be Destin.
It's probably Destin, Fort Walton Beach area. That strip, that 30A strip is beautiful.
Yeah.
I wish,
She said it's basically like the Caribbean, but like.
It's exactly what it is.
It's Florida.
Baller pads is what they are.
Well, one of my buddies, Brandon, just bought not one, but two houses. I don't think it's somewhere in Florida like that. Somewhere, wherever it was, it's where she wants to be, and he bought two houses. Not one. But
so you guys going?
I'm trying to buy one from him in like 2 years, man. I'm working on it. He does what we do, only he does full insurance restoration, but he's in Missouri, so they've been really blessed the last couple of years and just got crushed by storms. So they were our size 3 years ago. And then the last 2 years, they've just gotten ransacked by storms and just blew up, man. So, but they deserve it, man. They work hard. He's an awesome dude. But on that note, Alana is not just a friend of mine that I've known for a long time. She's a friend of mine that I've known from the industry for years now.
Years. I mean, we met back in 2017, so we've known each other almost a decade, which is crazy to see how life panned out. And
she knew me before I went down the second time. I had gotten out of jail, and I was sober-ish for a bit.
Ish.
Because I was drinking and whatnot, but I wasn't doing other things. And then I was.
Proud of you, though. I mean, you've worked your ass off.
She knew me when I was probably super puffy face and drinking all the time. And then doing pills in my office.
Tank tops and khaki shorts, Kenny. That's right. Crazy.
And then we went from working for a startup, then another startup. So then we went from one startup to working for another startup.
We hopped around together.
Yeah. And then and just ended up being, so we've been in the industry for a long time, the remodeling industry. She's been in the industry you started, because you're still young, but you started when you were what?
18, right out of high school. I started knocking doors.
She started in canvassing.
New Look Home Design was the first company I ever worked for.
And that's a big company that company just scooped up. So it's a great company. I thought
they're out there. Are they in Elk Ridge? Like that's where they were before.
I'm not sure. I know
Columbia type area.
Did you ever work for Anderson?
Yeah, but the thing is, when I worked for Anderson, we would go to Columbia, we would all hop in the van, and we would commute to Northern Virginia. And they had their office there. And we would all meet. They had a few people from Maryland, a few people from Virginia, and then we would all go out and canvass there, get back in the van, head all the way back to Maryland, do it again the next day. It was rough, honestly.
So you were at there, Renewal.
And then I went to
companies that I know of.
And that was pretty much.
And the good companies, great companies, and many of whom we're still friends with. Some of them not so much, but we've got some good. And that's kind of what I wanted to kind of focus on, a few things, because we've been through a lot of the same things together. And now, she's in town because she's helping us. We kind of always, when you've gone through the industry together, everybody from the industry, and it's like you don't really lose touch completely, especially if you're still in the industry. But Alana, married to a guy that does really well, so she doesn't really have to do anything. But
and I love him, and I appreciate him for that.
But also,
I love to work.
Had success with TikTok and stuff too, though.
Yeah, I mean, social media has changed my life. I mean, it really is a crazy world.
Because you're big on Snapchat now. You were big on TikTok.
I was really big on TikTok, and that's the thing, though, that I feel like a lot of people don't understand about social media is it's amazing, but it can be taken away in a second. I stopped everything I was doing because I was making $10K a month on TikTok. That's absolutely insane. I was 22 years old. I was like, I'm just going to stop everything. I'm making enough money. And then one morning I woke up and everything was gone.
Wow.
Nothing. And that's almost, I'm not saying worse than going in and being fired from your job, but to work on something for years and then wake up and it just be gone and there's no way to fight to get it back is wild, which actually pushed me to create my marketing company and then help others build their profiles because it really sucked.
Yeah.
But now I vlog on Snapchat and I love it, and I've built a good platform of almost 100K on there, and that's not an easy platform to build on.
100,000 people
on
from
Snap,
Snapchat?
And that's pretty hard. TikTok, I had almost 1 million before they banned me. I have a couple spam accounts with, 100, 200K, but like I said, people want to quit their job to do social media, and that's really not realistic. I hate to say it. The life of an influencer is...
It can be taken like that?
Just like that. You can wake up, you could go to bed
that night. They don't like what you say.
Yes, it could be anything. People could have reported your account so many times, and they're just like, ban it. And you can submit an appeal, but come on. You really think out of all the people that are on TikTok that they're getting back to you? I fought 6 months to a year to try to get my account back. Didn't hear back from anybody. Absolutely insane.
Do you ever know why it was?
It was the vaping, because that's what essentially I was doing, was reviewing vapes. And before people started doing that, I was the first person to hit that niche, which was why I was so big. I was a female. I was reviewing all these vapes that companies would send me, disposables and stuff.
Oh,
and,
wow.
Now I see people doing it on TikTok, and it kind of upsets me because I'm like,
you
took that from me before it was even a thing. I started that. But the grind and everything that I put into it, all that energy was just like, I just started my own business and was going to help other people. Now I kind of just do it for fun.
And so how much harder is Snapchat than TikTok? Because we're trying to build social media, and if our demographic is very diverse, but like a lot of them are business owners, and they're trying to like build brands, and they all hear like build your brand, and the rest will follow. And so like this is definitely something that's relevant, because we struggle to build a brand around business or sales or whatever, right? And it's all, they say the riches are in niches, bitches. But and then you can try it. I said we've heard that a couple times.
I like it, but new one for me.
The bitches part might have gotten thrown in there. I don't remember who told us that, but at any rate, like it's been hard, dude. Like we've been capped at 10K forever.
Okay, and that's super frustrating and hard, and I completely understand that. And that's the thing, is like it's almost like you have to, which is why people pay people to run their accounts and stuff like that, because everybody thinks they can be an influencer and says, "Oh, I could do that. You have I could do that. You have 80,000 followers. Well, why aren't you doing it?" It's, think about it. If you could do it and you're saying that, why aren't you doing it? Essentially, a lot of people, and that's why they hire people. And it's just like with your business, the trends. You have to follow the trends. Someday you're going to wake up and one day it's going to be something, and the next day it's going to be something else. You have to go where it goes. You have to stay up to date on things like that. And maybe that's why you're stuck. Maybe you're at a plateau because you've been posting similar content and you need to spice it up a bit. I mean, I think this is nice to have a female on your podcast. I feel like you should reach out to more. Honestly, this is good.
We don't. She said she watched the episode she watched fully was the one with my wife in it.
It was the only one I fully watched, actually. Yeah.
But there's not very many, to her point.
To see a female on this podcast really was intriguing to me. I'm like, I love that. I love to see that because this is such a male-dominated industry, Kenny, and you know that. And I have been overlooked so many times and had to work, I hate to say it, a lot harder than some other people to get where I am. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, for you, the day you decided that you were going to choose me, who lives 17 hours away, to do this position, what was it that popped into your head that you were going to pick me? I mean, this is such a male-dominated industry. You could have picked anybody from around here. You know what I'm saying? What was it? Were you in a meeting? Who were you with? Like, how did that go about?
We were probably talking about the need for somebody for confos, and I was like, "You're always." I've thought about you a couple times for that role because we've worked at so many places together where it's like, oh, I know who can do that really good, but thinking about it and acting on it, because you're right, you're like in where the hell you are. I think the biggest difference was, I floated the idea out to someone else like me or, and I'm like, but she's not here. I'm like, well,
how's that gonna work?
Yeah.
Well,
to be fair though, I didn't think it would at the time, but then like I talked to one of my mentors and they're like, dude, most of our people on the phones are outsourced or not. They're not actually in the office. So I was like, well.
After COVID, a lot of jobs became remote.
And that's what I was thinking. I'm like, you know what? I mean, she could at least do, we don't really have to train her. You know what I mean? Like, if anything, like the biggest thing is, and that you're here now, obviously, but like you being able to work with other people and train them. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like you just flying out for a couple of days, getting the gist, and then why can't you do it from where you're at? You know what I mean?
And that's all we need, and it's really going to help. I'm excited to build this whole new residential retail side for us.
And that's the thing, man. We're doing an entirely new vertical, so I start thinking about like who do I know that, we could bring in. I've talked to a bunch of times just trying to like, come on, man. Like now he's doing his own thing, to be fair, and if he's listening to this, I don't try to discourage him from doing that, but I'm always like, how can we make money together? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, partner up,
something, man. Like, bring.
He says, if you're hearing this.
Yeah, not Jamaican Sean, but my buddy Sean. He's way different. He's
I love. He's a great guy.
One is like maybe 6'3", 220 pounds of muscle, and the other one is like 5'11". He's muscly. But
he's a big teddy bear.
A big teddy bear.
That's exactly what he is.
No shade, nothing like that. It's just they're very different, right? White, black, super huge and jacked. Teddy bear is a good way to describe
He's one of the wittiest guys I know, though. He can on cue just.
Yeah, he's very sharp. That's why he's so good at sales and marketing, and he's the best, one of, if not the best, canvassing coaches I've ever met.
He does.
I know he like hates that, but I think he's embracing it again now. But he definitely was like trying to get away from that. Like,
so he's in the industry, just kind of doing his own thing.
They do their own thing. They have their own company. They've come out here and talked to him and his buddy.
Oh, gotcha.
So like so we last worked together, and this has kind of just turned into a kind of a conversation, but.
I mean,
that's what we figured it was going to be, and I think that's entertaining because we've got some serious. What would you call it? Tea. Or whatever my wife would say.
The spicy tea.
Spicy tea. My wife would say she loves the tea. We got some real juicy. We've just worked for some really shitty people.
and it's sad to say, but it's just the name of the game. Everybody out there probably has.
We've learned, and we're still here. So, and frankly, that's why I started my own companies, because I was like, and it sounds like, well, you started your own company. You know what I mean? And now we're able to utilize that company
together, like you said earlier.
To now you can leverage your company to help us, scale out the call center and the confirmations and all of that, even remote, and we can, continue forward. So the time wasn't like wasted, because at the time it can feel like when you work somewhere, and we worked at a couple startups like this, but when you don't know if your paycheck's going to be there on Friday, that's so trash.
Kenny, do you remember me and you and like everybody just waiting in the office for a certain someone to just arrive with our checks to never come in for a whole weekend? We were supposed to be paid on Friday. Wouldn't even show up until Monday or Tuesday. No word said. That's
not answering his phone.
Nothing. Just totally
Total
disconnected
coward.
from the world in your foreign sports car.
Yeah.
Awesome. Really nice to see you with your Gucci backpack on a Tuesday.
Gucci.
Where's my check?
Gucci backpack. Like in a Bentley.
Yeah, like a blue Bentley, a baby blue one.
Bentley. Yeah, not even like, because he had something that was probably, I don't know, Lambo or something like that before, but then he went to
Who cares? He didn't have our checks.
Got his wife a brand new like Range Rover or whatever, and like that's the point though. And I see a lot of guys in this industry, man, especially the insurance restoration side, because the barrier for entry is just so low. It doesn't cost money. And it might be a test. And even then, it's an open book test. So my God, right? Like the guys here, the brain dead guys here that I've seen that are just no talent, have no business running a business. That was him. Like there are certain people that just have no business running a business, and you think because you did okay at sales that you should go and just start a business. And that's just couldn't be further from the truth. I'm not discouraging salespeople from starting their own businesses, but like for me, Lana and I have been in this industry for years. We've worked, and I went from like sales. I've done canvassing. I've worked at that one at Rennie. I did PM work. I was like the admin for a bit because they couldn't afford, like they didn't have leads. So I just like did everything.
And yeah, genuinely, it's like at the end of the day, it comes down to if you're going to own a business and have employees, pay them. Basic ethics. Like, seriously.
But what's even scarier is I don't even think like he like did that on purpose. I think he just really fucked his money up that bad, which is embarrassing. It's like you are that inept that that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
You shouldn't own a business.
And then guess what? Well, when we left there and I came back, I don't know what I was doing that year. I think it was the year during COVID and stuff or whatever, but I drove by the office a few times, to see what was going on with it. Nothing. Just big, like, weeds growing from the ground outside the door, like snakes, like all around. I'm like, this is so crazy.
You just turned into like a ghost town.
It literally was looked like a foreclosed building. I'm like, don't know what happened with it, but yeah, like it just.
And the person, had some short-term success. So we got good people in there, and this is a lesson. He had great
people.
Guys.
He had really great people that he flopped on.
Yeah, and this is a lesson. This if you're an upstart or a newer business owner, or you want to start a business, and you get lucky enough to attract some good people, because it was a big decision for me to leave where I was at, and I was bait and switched. I don't know if you were there when I first came in, but I was pissed because I was told I had 3 sales reps.
I do.
I flat out was like, okay, who do you got there? Like, well, we got 3 guys. They're all right. But like, so I came in, and then day one, I'm like, where are the reps? I knew I was going to have to get new reps to get my own. There were no reps.
Okay, so Kenny, I worked the front desk there. I did all my confirmations and stuff, but I helped people when they would walk in. Kenny's office was right to the left. So, every phone call, everything Kenny did, I could hear all day. That was not a wonderful day.
No.
I can literally remember that day, Kenny. That's how it was.
Said that they were taking bets on whether or not I was going to come back because I was pissed.
They were.
Yeah.
They were.
Because I was like, I quit. It was a big deal for me to quit the job I was at to come there. And I knew it was a startup, so I knew it was a risk. But I'm like, all right, well, I trust in and I know if I'm given the opportunity that we can do it. And we did. You know what I mean? Like, I still came back because I'm like, fuck it. I already quit the other place, and I'm not going to go back to that guy and be like, well, that was quick.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I'm back.
He was like, look, I'll pay you. He's like, I hope you don't think we bait and switched you. I'm like, you 100% bait and switched me, dude. Like, what do you mean? But we took the time, and in 1 month, we as a group, we had we had a call center, a young man that was actually not bad, man. He had a great group of folks, and those guys could get leads. They were led by and very good at his job. Well, we decided to come together, and I ran a few leads myself and sold some in January, but I was like, look, I can see where this is going to go. I'm just going to keep running and selling, and then we're never going to go anywhere. Like, it's just going to be me selling, and that's it. That's going to be what we have. But
that's what it seemed like. Yeah. Essentially, that's what it looked like. They were just running you around from, Reisterstown to Ocean City.
Everywhere.
Like, it was ridiculous. There was no radius.
And I was hired to be the VP sales and start this whole, supposed to have my own
and you walk into
stuff.
the office and you're by yourself with nothing.
But I got with Sean and Tim, and I told Sean, I said, if we don't buckle down and actually do this, we'll never have anything, and this was just a waste. And honestly, to his credit and Tim's credit, they agreed. And for a full month in January, they ran all the leads. And I just sat in the office, and I called and interviewed, did interviews, called, Monster.com, Indeed. And in 1 month, we got enough people in for the first training class. And that was another shit show, because then when the training class comes, I'm expecting a whole binder of standard operating procedures and training manual.
There was nothing.
Nothing, dude.
Never.
I'm like, what's your training manual? What's the scripts? It's like, you, dude, you're the training manual. You're it. And I was like,
that's
I remember
how this works, but
B said he could hear me in my office, and this is a guy that's
Stop,
working
I forgot
for me
about
day
him.
one. Yeah, he still actually works in the industry, but he works for my old partner still. So they're best pals now, which shocks me because
I never thought he was going to continue in this industry ever. If that's so wild.
I don't know what he's doing with him, but he was always a high integrity guy that I thought.
He was a great guy. It's just I never thought this would be
his
industry.
Such a shitbag, though, is basically that guy's worse than Frank. He's intentionally Frank. I think Frank was unintentionally Frank. I mean,
just.
I'm gonna have to bleep,
I get what you're
some
saying.
Names out.
Yeah,
so
that's fine. But I get what you're saying.
But I think Homie was unintentionally himself in some ways.
I think he lived in his own fantasy land. Is what he essentially did. He thought he was hot shit, and that's what it was.
But doesn't all of them?
Yeah, I mean,
you guys go out and you start a business. You sell 100,000 gross, and you go buy a Ferrari, and it's what? Well, you know what I mean? It's just insane to me, man. And then I'm seeing guys on stages and what are we talking about? Your ability to give things away? At least in retail, there's an actual selling methodology and mechanism and structure and risk and you've got to pay, I don't want to hear anything these insurance restoration dudes have to say, period. Because you've got no skill set for me. I don't, you know what I mean?
I know nothing about that insurance side. I know nothing. I know the residential retail side.
But on the retail side is what you know, and that takes a lot of work, to your point. What did you were in, where'd you start?
So it was New Look.
But what were you doing?
Canvassing.
And then you went into?
I went into, it would be Vision.
Call center.
Before Vision made Valor, I was in the call center, and I was just a call center agent. Is essentially what I was. Cold calling all day. I was cold calling, and then I kind of worked my way up to be able to do inbound leads and stuff like that.
Inbound leads.
And then everybody got mad because I took over the call center, and they were all between the ages of 30 and 50, and I'm
inbound leads now
20
you're selling
something.
Over the phone.
Yeah. I mean, I'm rehashing everything over the phone all day. They would tell me if I could set 5 leads, I could go home. I would set 5 in an hour, and Arun was like, okay, you can leave. And then he had to cut that off because
people were pissed.
Yeah, people were really upset. But it was Jenny, and then did the call center there. Kind of moved into a little bit of office admin with Bree. She taught me the roles of, collecting paperwork, inputting it all for the sales guys, doing all that. And then after that, it was just really hardcore on operations, confirmations, office admin. And that was when Vision and were together, and we were over off West Street, but that's a whole nother situation.
And we'll bleep the names of the businesses out too.
We will.
But at any rate,
that's a whole nother story though, is because before the whole incident where we were over at was Vision and Better. And guess what happened there? Same thing. Guess what? You guys are going to be paid on Friday, but we're mailing your checks. That's so crazy. So you're mailing my check the day we're supposed to get paid, and it's not coming until Monday? Huh. Wow. That doesn't look right. And that had everybody always in a spiral.
So this is 2 companies now that she and I have both worked for, where, now to be fair, I didn't experience that with the second company, but I wasn't there anymore. I had my own issues. So I remember hearing about that.
I mean, everybody, I think everybody probably heard about it.
I was running around doing crazy stuff, but that's the point, man, is like, and they're still around and as far as I know, doing well, you know what I mean? But the other one definitely is not. But like, some of it's chalk it up to, I guess, I don't know, being early onset business owners.
And it doesn't mean they're bad people, but it just means maybe you shouldn't be a business owner.
You should make sure, everything in your power to make sure that, and look, we've been very blessed to not ever have that be the case, but I will say this, having gone through that myself, it was imperative that, like, when I decided to step out on my own, like, I think that's the big thing, is what I'm getting at with all of this. Is like, because we've been through all of this, because we started from like canvassing, call center, confos, management, admin. I've done the same thing, like canvassing, administrative stuff, dude.
I've been on ride-alongs in the house with sales guys. 100%. Like, that's insane.
You've done like so much of this industry. I've been through, I feel like, every piece of this industry.
Me too.
To the point where it's like we both know the ins and outs of almost all of it. Like, and only then did I feel comfortable enough to step out on my own. And even then, I was very intimidated because, like, I had been the person that knew what it felt like to get screwed over and not have your check there, or made promises that were never kept. And, like, that seemed to be such a trend in our industry. And, like, it's not slowing down. It's still such a trend in the industry. And the fact it remains that, like, you have to do your due diligence if you're looking to work for somewhere like that, and make sure that you don't work for a company like that. But you also, if you're thinking about stepping out and doing this, like, man, you really need to consider that you have other people's lives, families, and things like that.
So as a business owner of this business and everything that we've been through, if you were to come into that situation, what would you do to your employees? Would you explain it to them? How would you go about the situation?
Explain it to them. I mean, we will never find ourselves in that position.
I know that, but I'm just spitting stuff out. An example, like what would you do because you've been through it?
Yeah, because I've been through it. If we truly ever had found ourselves there, I would 100% just leverage with people. Like, look, this is the situation. Because if you don't, like, we're all talking, and we know. At that point, like just things spiral anyhow. Like, we know what's going on, and we assume worse, versus if you were just to be like, hey, listen, maybe we have it, but it's like, it's tight this month, whatever. Like, we're going to assume one thing anyhow. And so, like, just being honest with your people and transparent. What you can't do is play with people's money.
That's the worst.
You can't, like, if that's the deal, and it's like, look, we're going to find a way, we're going to do whatever, but you got to be straight up and honest, man. Like, and that's the thing that neither one of them did. And then, what doesn't help is when you're driving this and you're driving that, if it's like, look, I sold my car, I did this, like, those are the things I would do. Like, I would not ever allow myself to be in that position and be like,
see, there you go. That's a valid response,
having not, like, done something like, I've gotten rid of everything I can. Dude, just last year, when we scaled to the new market, we took on a whole lot more in overhead, and
that's when most people think, hey, let's buy a new whip. Let's flex out and get the Rolex.
Which is crazy because at the time, like, everything costs more, and we weren't making it back yet. Like, we're just now at the place where things are starting to come as a result of that. I sold the vet. I sold all my watches.
Remember when you sold the vet?
Mm-hmm. And I did all that because I knew, like, hey,
minor setback for a major comeback.
And I didn't have to do that at that point. I didn't do that because we didn't have the money. I just did that because I knew, like, hey, we're taking on more overhead. My CFO, Kevin, was like, I don't agree with us doing this at this time. So I'm like, all right, I'll sell this, this, and this, and I'll pay for it for this month. How about that? You know what I mean? Like, because I'm willing to bet on it. And it ended up still taking longer than we thought. And it ended up we still went in the red longer than we anticipated going in the red. But because we did business the right way and we made the right moves, we didn't have to take any loans. We had to do anything. We had enough cash reserves and enough, we did enough of the right thing to where no one ever would have ever thought anything was ever anything but okay. You know what I mean? Like, no one ever wanted for their checks, nothing like that. Like, there was definitely times where I was like, man, this sucks, dude. But
that's what pushed you to be in the position and own. I mean, think of how many punches we've taken in this industry, and look where we are. We're still in this industry because the drive and the passion for it is there. We don't want people. It is a great industry, but if you're in it with the wrong people, it can ruin it for your whole life. I mean, it gives people a really nasty taste in their mouth about this industry, like it really does.
I think it's the most complained about industries.
That or car sales.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just like, it's not even just it's working there, and it's also clients and people. So, like, bottom line is you can make a lot of money in this industry, but you're only going to make a lot of money in this industry with the right people. And you're not going to keep the right people if you don't treat them right. Like, it won't matter. So if you're considering getting out here and starting your own business, you need to really consider the severity of that decision, that your decision is going to impact other people. Like, if you just want to do you and be a one-man band, man, that's fine. But if you want to, like, try and attract other people and you have the nerve to sit there and sell them on your vision, like, you had better back that up with being an adult and a professional. And, like, I mean, I'm talking to people like they're going to care what I have to say as far as that goes. They're going to make their own decisions. But, like, I would hope. I
mean, they are, but at least you're giving them some sort of insight because, like, you've been through it.
Because what's going to happen is if you don't do those things, it's going to get sniffed out. It's going to implode. You're going to hurt other people, and you're going to look like an asshole, and you're going to look like an idiot. And then you're not going to have a company. You're not going to have a company anyhow. Most of these companies fail within the first couple of years. I watched a couple knuckleheads do this, and look, I'm just saying that used to work here for very short times, and either weren't good core value fits, or maybe one was worth a damn. And I say that having employed them myself, so I don't think I'm throwing shade. It's just you can bring anyone on. And I think usually in about 90 days' time, you find out who they really are. And then if at that time we find out that they weren't a good fit or a good core value fit, then we went our separate ways, right? And so, one of them overdosed and died. He's gone.
Jeez, I'm
right?
sorry.
Like, sweet kid, but, like, died.
That is
and before
so
that,
sad.
He was complaining that he only had $100,000 in his account, or less than $100,000 in his account, but they had done over $1 million. So he was like less than 10%, net. And, like, having 100,000 or less than 100,000 in your account is not much of anything when you're doing roofing and things like that. That's a couple bills away from being broke.
That's it. Like,
what I mean?
That's not. I hate to say, but in this day and age, 100K is.
Not when not 100K is your business and personal account. Like, that's very bad.
Yeah,
that's a week's worth of labor or material. But
you're going under soon.
Unfortunately, he, like I said, he just passed away.
So
then,
sad.
Another one starts a company with someone else, apparently, tells everybody he's starting this company, does all these things, ends up getting that company taken from him because, just like we have a friend of a friend who had started a company with someone else where the license holder wasn't that person. And in the state of Maryland, if you're not on the license with that person, you got nothing. And the guy just basically booted him out, so he's gone. So there's really only like one or two left, and I mean, and I see the guys. So he thought
he was gonna run under somebody else's license.
Someone else's license, and I've heard that a few times, man. And I've seen so many guys trying to do it so many ways, and I've seen guys and they just do it with their buddies, and they're just trying to create lifestyle companies, and the guys are just not the brightest, and like that. And we work so hard, and we get so many credentials, and do so much work, effort, time, energy, money, lost sleep, and to have like this moron not give a damn or respect the hustle of the industry or anything. Just show up and just, I mean, hell, my old partner was an elevator mechanic. He doesn't know a damn thing about roofing, right? But that's
very odd.
Here,
I never
you know
knew
what I mean?
that.
It's just like, and he is the second I left, like a couple months later, we got moved up to one of the highest warranty status, which would have only been as a result of the efforts that me and our guys did. You know what I mean? And so, like, I have to share that status. It doesn't matter. Bottom line is that doesn't matter. What more annoys me is these children coming in here, because he's at least still doing it. And so I'd imagine he's learned quite a bit.
How many years deep is he? Well, I guess that was 2017 when.
That was 3 years that I had been there almost. So we're at 4. So 4, 5, 6. He's got 7 years now. So honestly, he's been doing it for a while now. But and he wasn't inept when it came to like swinging a hammer, right? But being a business owner, that's a very different story. But they're all the same. You know what I mean? Like, it's so much easier to find a crappy company or business owner or place to work than it is to find a good one. Isn't that bad in this industry? And that's scary.
It's scary, and it's just sad. It's downright sad. Like,
we're really throwing shade at this industry right now. I did not mean for this to turn into this, but it's what we experienced.
Honestly, I just feel like for people who want to do this job, that really you should pay attention, because people will screw you over left and right. And if you're not paying attention, I mean, just think of some of these bigger companies. How many people go knock doors and listen, like, I was thinking about this earlier. How many window sales I've had that were just like, I'd go in for that week and I'd be like, oh, wow, I sold $40,000 on one house in windows. The rep went out and sold it after I knocked the door, and then didn't see any more of my leads demo or sell for quite a while after that one. And I'm like, this is kind of weird considering I'm bringing in 3 to 5 leads a day. It's like once I saw a big sale there, it was like almost like the company was so big that, like, when I so young being like that, I'm like, wow, that's awesome. And I'm all on this little high of excitement and adrenaline, overlooking the fact that they're probably running and selling my leads and not even saying anything, but I'm not even knowing.
Yeah. Just not
That's
even
crazy.
That is crazy, man. And that's the thing, man. You really do have to protect yourself. And then there's another big company. I'm not going to name names, but even though we've already named several.
I just said big company.
Yeah.
I mean.
But the good news is, don't worry, our editors have gone in there and bleeped them all out, because trust me, there's a few of them. If we didn't, they'd be on their comments real quick, or we'd be getting phone calls, especially 1 or 2 of them. But at any rate.
We'd probably have some papers being
served. That's the first thing I thought. We're definitely going to have to cut this out, because the pettiness is real. But
it's actually real, though. Like, I mean, this is really what happened. We're telling you guys.
These are all facts. So I don't know if you could really get in trouble for speaking the truth.
But we're going to bleep it out anyway, because it's not worth it.
Anyways, because it's definitely not a lie.
But if the shoe fits. I mean,
and there's another company that's really big, and that I'm even seeing around here recently, and I've been like, man, how are these guys doing this? You know what I mean? Because, I'm like, the market is volatile, and I want to make sure we're smart and we do the right things, and we kind of baby steps ourselves to the bus stop and make sure we're doing the right stuff. And they're just spending money. And as another business owner, I'm like, wow, I don't know who they have at the other end of that. Like money, I don't know.
I mean,
money pool or whatever. There's somebody who's financing them that's just got big, deep pockets. Well, look, I just found out they're being sued by the same stuff you just mentioned that you heard from some other company. I'm hearing now about them, and this is direct from a very reliable source, like about as reliable a source as it gets, because it's one of the involved parties. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
like,
I mean,
dang,
it's like
like, they're not paying their bills because, and it's like.
So yeah, and this is what I just came back. I mean, yesterday, and I've heard so many things. And
that company's probably not small, but this one's big. This one's probably like 70 mil or something like that. And it's like not paying their bills. Like, it's just nuts.
That's so nuts. But it's it's believable. I believe it. I believe it.
And I mean, you know, I think the amount of ego and knuckleheadery in this game is just so high. Sales guys in general are ego-driven usually,
but
right?
It's the checks. You know, you get those big checks. It's really nice and pretty, but at the same time, you know, if you blow that check in one sitting, doesn't mean a thing.
No. In fact, you know,
they love the materialism of things, and
yeah, it's like they like the look.
It's not always about that, you know. Like, I hate to say it, but if you're gonna sell the roof, you're gonna sell it in a $20 pair of sneakers or a $200 pair of sneakers. It doesn't matter. You're just gonna sell the roof if you can sell. And
you're right about the women thing, by the way. I was going to say all these dudes out here, but there need to be more women. But you know, a peer of mine, and actually I credit him as being a mentor of mine, not as much as like them or any of these guys I've worked with here, but Kurt was at least kind enough to get on a few phone calls with me and actually spend some real time and get his COO involved and run us through his whole playbook, courtesy of a relationship with Ryan. And Kurt Lennington was the owner of Linear. We don't have to bleep that out. Kurt's an amazing person, amazing man, arguably one of, if not the best to do it. And this guy, dude, the other day I'm watching him on social media basically just like driving in a McLaren on a runway.
Oh, gosh.
And it looks like racing a jet, like a literal jet. Like you see a jet pull off next to him. I'm like, dude, what? He built, sold, and scaled his company, and like did. And he's like now he's just living like his best life. Dude.
Now he's driving McLarens on runways,
racing jets, dude. And like, and the reason I brought him up is because he has a company in Texas where he has a really good, very diverse company, and like it's like. He's got the look down. Like he's got a very good-looking group of people, male and female.
Sleek, just all very tight.
Well, most of the men are like bodybuilders or wannabe bodybuilders, and many influencers in their own right, and most of the women are like Instagram models.
Yeah, so same. You know, just a good group of people that.
He's just really hit his nail on the head for like. The look he was going for, but
sometimes Kenny, the look is great, but like, and that's also being a female, like in this industry, and even on social media, people think, oh hey, you know, she's pretty, so that's why she has 100,000 followers or whatever it may be, and that's so crazy because if you were to look at my analytics, I have more women that follow me than I do men, because I actually engage my audience. They listen to what I have to say. You know, it's a lot harder. Like, yeah, surface level, being a female, awesome. If you look good, even better. But if you're getting into the depths of it, you know, and it only gets you so far.
Yeah, I'm
like,
sure.
Like, it really does. Like, you have to know your stuff.
I'm sure these women and men, because like I said, he's got a really good, like, all I know is that he's got a great looking company,
and
but I know
great.
how sharp Kurt is, and I know how successful he is. So I can only imagine like they've got to all be.
But that's amazing. Like if he has people who look like that and know all the product knowledge and everything like that behind the business, then
they have to because they're doing phenomenal. So
I mean, that's exactly what you want, though. You want a clean cut group. I mean, you don't
see very many women here. You know what I mean in the arena here. I don't know. I guess I bring that up because.
I've worked with in this industry that actually lasted but weren't doing, you know, any other positions but office admin, 3. Except for Drew. She worked in the call center with me for like 2 years. But that's it. Like, that's so crazy. I've always worked around, all men.
Even when the canvassing days? Mostly women?
Yeah, I was in a van full of guys, and they would. Woman. And that's the thing is, they would be like, I'd be like, I have to go to the bathroom, and they'd be like, okay, so we got to come pick you up. Yes, you have to come pick me up. What do you think? Right. I'm not a guy. So yeah, like that's how it was. It was really like, I felt outcasted. I felt like I definitely had to work double the amount that the guys did to make myself even look semi good compared to them. And it's just crazy. It really is.
And like I said, Kurt, he's got a very diverse, but
I would like to see his group of people and like look up his company.
I'll have to. You can look him up on Facebook, but I will have to show you some of his people on Instagram. But he's got a very good, diverse bunch, and we're working on the same here. I think we have a couple young ladies coming in Monday. A
good bunch of people here. It's only
very
gonna get
excited,
better.
Man. We're just launching the new vertical, so we're just launching the new vertical. Alana's involved, so she'll be in every quarter, really, I would think, or at least probably.
We'll have to run it back next time I come back.
Yeah. When you come back, that way we can update on everything and where we're all at. She is, if you look her up, check out her Facebook, check out her Snapchat, or you can check out her Facebook, but definitely check her out on Snapchat. Where's your Snapchat?
Yeah, I'll tag the kitchen table in it, but it's at Alana, ALANA.KAKUK.
Which is her old.
That's my old last name. It's Kakuk. Kenny's like, I'm gonna butcher. Go ahead, say it how you. How are you gonna say it?
Is that really how you say it?
Kakuk is how you say it. Kakuk. It's spelled with Kakuk. You would say that like.
I always say Kukak, Alana Kukak. I thought that's what it was.
You've said that for so long that I don't even. You don't faze me anymore. Yeah. I'm just like.
I'm not
Kenny,
being. I know you're not. Thought that's what
I know you're not. That's
I knew I wasn't right. That's why when I first went to say it, that's why I'm.
And
so
you also think I literally live in Tennessee, so what?
Well, I'm thankful for your husband because now I don't have to say that anymore. Watkins is way easier than.
Is how easy is Watkins? Come on.
Yeah, Kakuk.
Instagram.
Not an Instagrammer.
No, yeah. So
I'm just Alana Kakuk on Snapchat.
Alana Kakuk on Snapchat, but there's no chance you spell
like
that.
Like I said,
way.
I'm just a vlogger on there. I vlog and blog my daily life for fun. Like that's what I do, and people enjoy it, and I enjoy it. That was really a lot of stress, like running those TikTok pages and stuff for myself and making all that money and then getting banned. Like it really hit me hard.
I'm sure.
And like I said, I do it for fun now. So if you want to look me up and see what I'm doing in my life, feel free, but it's not going to be anything like super the kitchen table-y. Like I'm not going to be cutting up about sales on my channel, but I have a pretty entertaining channel. I like to garden. I teach yoga.
Yeah, I think it's just a day in the life, right?
It's a day in the life. That's exactly what it is.
And on Snap, that's difficult, man. But check her out.
Yeah, what people don't know about Snap is you have to get followers from Spotlight. And people don't even know what that is because they don't even use it enough. But if you take a picture, you can't post it to Spotlight. You have to do a video more than 6 seconds long, and then you can add hashtags and stuff, and people will be able to find you. Half the people don't know that. I'm telling you all now. You're welcome. But yeah, just gave you the key to so much success for people who want to know how Snapchat works. But their algorithm is absolutely ridiculous.
Money on Snapchat?
Yeah, so the thing about it is I'm kind of upset with them because they say, you can gain your Snap star when you get 50,000 followers. So, I mean, I surpassed that a while back. I got on a conference call with somebody from Snap, and he looked at my numbers and my insights for like the past 28 days. It was like over 3 million views or something crazy. And the population of where I live is 144,000 people. So for 3 million people to be watching my stuff in a town of 144,000 people is absolutely insane in 28 days. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And this guy from Snapchat was like, these numbers are absolutely ridiculous. Like this is crazy. There's no way you shouldn't be able to have a Snap star. And so he emails in for me to get it. I get an email back, and he was like, nah, since you're a lifestyle vlogger, the requirements are harder. So we're not going to be able to give it to you. I'm like, that's so crazy. So how many views essentially do you need? And they won't tell you. It's like they will never tell you how to get it, but they'll tell you that you can't have it. And it's so weird. It's honestly messed up.
So they don't really have
elaborate on, hey, this is how you can fix this to be able to gain the star. No, they don't give any input on how to fix it, how to make it better.
They clearly don't have a real number, and if they do, they don't want people to know because they don't want to pay people.
See, and the thing is I've been paid a couple times, but I'm not a Snap star, so I don't know how their algorithm works. I'm still figuring it out. I just built this channel. I mean, like a year ago, maybe, if that. So, but it's definitely different than any other platform I've ever worked on, for sure.
That's trash. But hopefully you guys see this and you can get this rectified. Hook her up, man. Pay her. So,
yeah. If anybody works at Snapchat, hit me up.
Yeah. Man. So we'll get her back on. She's going to be helping us grow out and launch this retail vertical. We've been doing this so we just said F it and took our own future into our own hands. But in all seriousness, we're going to be rocking around for the next couple years and make this thing happen. So ready? We just had our first retail sale today.
We love it.
And while Alana was in town, getting everything set up, so I'm very excited for the future. It's going to blow up because we've done this a few times now, so I'm very excited to see this thing pop off. I've got my consulting client that was just in town last week from Minnesota, so there's a lot of big things happening in life right now. Very thankful. If you're listening to this and you think that your business or you might benefit from Baden Consulting, coaching, or just direct one-on-one consulting from our consulting business, go to the .net, the kitchentable.net, and there is a link that says basically one-on-one or a consultation. Click that and we'll talk and see. You know what I mean? We're being very selective on how much, who, and how often, but we're at least doing it. So I mean, I enjoy it. I enjoy the hell out of it. I'm essentially just sacrificing any little free time we have to do it, but I genuinely like doing it. So click that. If we can help you, we will. And Alana, we'll see you
probably a couple months.
Yeah, a couple months, man. Guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Check her out on Snap, and we'll see you next time.